I was watching one of my favorite shows is Shark Tank, right? Of all time, one of my
Shark
favorite
Tank,
shows.
really?
I love Shark Tank. I really do. And I was watching this particular show, and there was this guy who came on. His dad created Tybo.
Tybo?
The Billy,
Billy Blanks.
Billy Blanks.
So his son was on the show.
His son was on the show. Now his son,
I used to do Tybo, actually.
yeah, it was huge. I mean,
I had the DVDs.
yeah, this thing hit
Yeah.
in what, the 90s, early 2000s, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, because my kids were super small, so it really wasn't like a viable thing to say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours, and everyone fend for themselves.
Yeah.
So I actually did it.
It was a huge
good home
phenomenon.
workout.
So you're talking about Billy as a very, successful, rich person after that, for sure. And so his son is on there, and his son has this dance video type exercise thing that he's doing, right? And his name is Billy Blanks Jr. So anyway, they're on there, they're talking to him. My first point is about Shark Tank, and then the second point is about the guy. Shark Tank I love because, like, a lot of this information I didn't get, growing up, and I didn't get in school. Like, I didn't know shit about, before I watched this show, Shark Tank, I swear, I didn't know anything about profit P&Ls, profit loss. I didn't know anything about fucking, your margin, when you're selling merchandise, like, for example, we're selling shirts, right? What are you getting the shirts for? What is the cost of it? What are you going to sell? All of that stuff, simple stuff that you probably should get in the home or should get in the school. I didn't get.
Right.
And a lot of people, growing up in certain situations didn't get that. So I love watching Shark Tank just to get that knowledge, and it's entertaining, right? So that's the first point. The second point about this guy is he's on there, and he's saying how his dad, they asked him about, does his dad support him in this endeavor, because it's kind of in the same lane. And he was saying, well, he started off by saying all family dynamics are sort of different, right? and
fancy way of saying no.
Yeah. And I like how he wouldn't, you never know what's the hell going on, but I like how he didn't trash his dad right there.
Yeah.
I like that. But they kept prying into it. Like, well, what do you mean? Like, I don't want to ask personal questions, but what do you mean? And he was saying, well, I've been homeless. Me and my wife were homeless. We didn't have any money. We couldn't support ourselves, but we kept this dream alive. And they're like, well, your dad is Billy Blanks. I mean, what are you doing sleeping outside? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and he couldn't really explain it. And he ended up turning a deal down that was like perfect for him. And the first time ever in the Shark Tank, one of the sharks, which was Damon, after the guy had left the tank, declined the offer, all of that, ran out to go get him and was like, hey, no, you need to take this deal. You know what I mean? Because,
okay.
I don't know. I just thought that was an awesome moment. But what I took away from that was, like, the relationship that you have, with your parents. And I wonder, like, what the fuck could have happened to have him homeless with
There's
a rich dad?
million things that could have happened. I mean, that's such an open plate. Like, I mean, Billy Blanks was doing the Tybo thing. Like, that had a run that ended. Mm-hmm. It did make it into it was in Nas, right?
Yeah.
But like, it wasn't like the longest run, and he didn't do anything great after that.
Yeah.
And that money could be gone. I mean, especially if that guy had like a divorce or two and stuff like that. Like, why are you laughing so hard?
Because it's like, that's one of the first things, like, a lady could have took all this money.
Yeah, for sure. What else are they going to do? They took some D on the front end, took some money on the back. I mean, come on, we know what this is. But no, I mean, to me, I don't know. Like, I mean, you look at something, and here's the thing, I guess what I'm trying to say. Like, you look at something that we see and feel as successful, but we really don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, I mean, and what I mean like that is you don't know what the bottom line is on that. Like, he could have not necessarily owned that. Like that way he could have, to get that off the ground, he could have like got in bed with different investors who actually got more than he did out of it. And it was, to me, a relatively short run that it was. And like he didn't like capitalize on that and become, do a bunch of other stuff. The other thing is, even when somebody does make some money, they're not just going to sit on it, they're going to invest it. And if they don't invest it well, or things go upside down, you can lose that. The crazy thing, I think, like, if you get to like, millionaire status, multimillionaire, that's not the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's no different than like a guy who played in the league for a few years. He got maybe contracts worth $10 million. You talk about taxes, then like you say, you throw in some bad investments, and again, like, you look at that whole Tybo thing, like, when it's rising you're making money, but like when it starts to fall, like, you don't predict yourself failing. Right. And like, what if your value is the equity of in the industry of Tybo, or like whatever the company is that's distributing the videos, and if it's if you stop selling videos, the value goes down the tubes.
Yeah.
If it's a publicly held company and the perception that the brand isn't any good, or it's had its run, the value goes out.
No, that's for sure. And then also because the first thought is, damn, Billy is a shitty father. But also, he could be the son could be the black sheep of the family. Maybe they did try to help him over and over again. Maybe he had a damn drug problem he didn't mention on the show. Like, who the hell knows? Like you said, there's a million.
There's a million, and you went to the next place where you can go is like, well, what's the deal with the son?
Yeah. Like,
what did this guy do? And like, again, if he grew up, thinking the money was endless and dad's super successful and whatever, probably had a sense of entitlement, probably didn't, thought he was going to be good no matter what. And sometimes it doesn't happen. And like you said, it could be drugs, could be just bad decision making, and as a parent, there's going to be a time in the life with your children that you guys aren't good. Like, it's just a natural thing. As a kid grows up and hits different stages of life, they don't look at you the same way. And a lot of times they resent you over stuff that you don't even realize they resent you over. And it can be very difficult because you're not even sure kind of what the problem is or why they're so mad or angry. And, and sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. And there's a lot of ways that a parent-child dynamic can break down over time. And, that's a real thing too.
No, it is. It is. And once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all, and I do mean all, podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
But I got one more question.
Go ahead.
When the guy from the tank goes and runs him down, did he then accept the deal and have a change of heart?
Yes. He accepted the deal, and basically he just didn't understand. Damon was trying to tell him, hey, I have this huge Zumba Connect. This is not a recent show.
Right.
He's like, I have this huge Zumba Connect, and we can get your workout video in that network. And what the guy was thinking was, oh, you want me to play second fiddle to Zumba and want me to come under the umbrella. And he was like, no, I'm literally just saying we can utilize this network that has 10 million people,
right?
Actively in Zumba and get your dance videos to them. And he just didn't understand that. But yeah, he took the deal. And actually, I looked it up because there's a thing on Google you can look up, the deals that have happened on Shark Tank and look for an update. Right. And he did well. He became successful off of that deal.
That's cool.
And that's cool.
That is interesting too, because again, like in business, it's like, sometimes you bet on yourself and it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to let go of a little ego and realize that there's a bigger, broader play in place. And that we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Like, you're defined more by your decisions than your talent, and that's in business too.
Yeah.
Again, if that guy didn't shag him down, like, who knows where that goes?
Yeah.
Maybe he's still homeless to this day.
It's not funny, but seriously.
Yeah, he's like sharing a heroin needle with Delonte West.
Oh, shit.